Hi Snoopy group. So we're back for our last small group lesson that we're going to get to do this year, because next week we're going to do some different kind of activities, but we're still going to do kind of the same things. We're going to do a word work activity, although this one's going to be a little bit different. We're not doing making words and we're not doing the sound boxes. We're actually going to do what's called an analogy chart. So I'll tell you more about that in just a second. But after we do our word work with our analogy chart, then we're going to read a book, and just like we have been. And then at the end, after you get done reading the book, then you're going to go back to Seesaw and you're going to compare and contrast two of the characters in the story. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so this is called an analogy chart. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab a piece of paper, dry erase board, whatever you have to write on, and you're going to make your T-chart just like I've made right here, okay? And you're even going to write the word boy, and you're going to write light, one on each side. And then once you're ready and you've done that, then you'll be ready for our lesson. All right, so let's get started with our analogy chart. So you can see that I've written, and you should have too, I've written boy and light on my T-chart. So make sure that you have that written before you do anything else. If you need to, pause it and make sure that you do that first. But what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a word, and I want you to think, what sound do you hear in that word that sounds like our sounds that we have up here? So if you look in the word boy, we know that O-Y makes what sound? Remember, it's a hunk and chunk that we have. So O-Y, oi, 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 O-Y, boy, 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 at the end of a word. So that O-Y makes that oi sound. So you're going to listen to the word and see, do I hear that oi sound? And then in the word light, we know I-G-H makes that I sound. So remember, I-G-H, I-G-H, I. Don't forget the T. It, like you're pulling down that light, just like our word, right? Look, right. That rhymes. It has the I-G-H in it. So you're going to decide, does that word have that I-G-H, I sound in it, okay? All right, let's go ahead and get started. So our first word is joy. Joy. Say that with me. Ready? Joy. So do you hear the O-Y, oi sound, or do you hear the I-G-H, I sound? All right, so if you said O-Y, oi, then you got it right. So we're going to write, and I want you to do it too on your paper or your board, whatever it is that you're using, and we're going to write the word joy right underneath that word boy, and we're going to underline where we hear that oi sound. So we hear that oi sound in that O-Y. Good job. All right, let's try another one. What about the word destroy? Destroy. Do you hear the O-Y, oi sound like in boy, or do you hear the I-G-H, I sound like in light? Listen, destroy. What do you think? All right, if you thought boy, oi, destroy, I think it has that same sound, that O-Y sound, like in boy. So we're going to write, this one's a little bit longer, destroy. So D-E-S-T-R-O-Y. So you're going to write that word in that column because it has that same O-Y sound. And then we're going to go back and we're going to underline where it makes that oi sound. So make sure you write that, and then we'll go on to another word. All right, so our next word is high. High, like the opposite of low is high, not like I'm gonna wave high. It's talking about like something is really high. So say that with me. You ready? High. So do we hear oi or do we hear I-G-H, I? All right, so you said I-G-H-I, then you got it right. So where are we going to put it? We're going to put it under light because it still has that same sound in it as light. So we're going to write high, H-I-G-H. And then we're going to underline that hunk and chunk that we hear, the I-G-H. Very good. Make sure you write that on yours too. All right, let's go to the next word. The next word is night. Night, like not daytime, but night time. So say the word night. All right, so do you hear O-Y, oi, or do you hear I-G-H-I? Night. Good. So hopefully you said or you thought that you heard that I-G-H sound. So night. So I hear that I. And I'm going to make sure I underline that I-G-H in the middle of that word, that hunk and chunk. Making sure my head doesn't cover it up for you. All right, make sure you write that. All right, and then let's see if you can tell me the next word. Where do you think it's going to go? So this word is loyal. Loyal. So do you hear the O-Y, oi, or do you hear the I-G-H-I sound? Loyal. All right, so hopefully you said that it makes that same O-Y, oi sound like in boy. So let's stretch it out. We hear L, we hear that L, and then L, oi, that hunk and chunk. And then this one's a little bit tricky, but it's actually not just the L. There's a kind of a silent A in that word. So it's L-O-Y-A-L. So make sure you write that on your chart. And we hear that O-Y, oi sound. All right, so let's do our last word. Our last word is flight. Flight, like the airplane went into flight, like it flew. So do you hear the O-Y, oi hunk and chunk, or do you hear the I-G-H-I hunk and chunk? Flight. All right, hopefully you said that I-G-H hunk and chunk. So we're going to put that in this column where all of our other I-G-H words are. I hear a blend at the beginning of that word. I hear fl. So I hear that F, whoops, L, that blend. Then I hear my hunk and chunk. I, and then I hear that T at the end. And don't forget to underline where that hunk and chunk is, where you hear that I sound. Very good. So I'm going to ask you, I want you to tell me what sound it makes now. I can't hear you, but I'm going to trust you that you're saying it, okay? So what sound does O-Y make? Oi, very good. And then what sound does I-G-H make? I, very good, you guys. I know you guys did that for me and you all did a nice job. And now we're going to get into our book. All right, so let's get started with our book called Muddy Pig, Clean Pig. And I don't know about you, but right off the bat, I can tell from the title that pig, I think, is going to be a little muddy at some point. So in this story, sheep and cow are on the farm and they're trying to find Pig. And when they find him, they find out that he might be a little something that has to do with our title. So we're going to read this book, and while you're reading it, I want you to be thinking about the characters, especially cow and pig, and how are they alike and how are they different, because when you get finished with the book, you're going to go back to Seesaw and you're going to tell me how they're different and how they're the same. You're going to compare and you're going to contrast. All right, let's get started with our book. So on this page, I want you to really practice your fluency and especially reading with expression. So there are several things that the animals say on this page. And I want you to go back and I want you to see if you can read it how you think the character would say it. So when they're asking questions, you want your voice to go up. If they're just telling you something, then you don't necessarily need your voice to go up. But at the very end of this page, it says, "Where is Pig?" said Sheep. And so I'm not going to read it like a robot. I don't want to read it without expression because then that makes it kind of boring. So when I read that, I want to say, "Where is pig?" said sheep. Not, "Where is pig?" said sheep. Do you hear the difference? Like if I read like that to you, you all would be so bored if I read like that to you. So when you read it, I want you to really try to read it with expression. Even if it takes you a couple of times to go back and read it over and over again, I want you to really practice reading it. How would he ask that? "Where is pig?" said sheep. So you try it. So on this page, if you look up at the very top, there's a word that starts with an F, and it's a really big word. And you might, when you were reading it, you might have gotten stuck on it. But what strategy I think will really, really help you with this word is the chunky monkey strategy and kind of stretchy snake at the same time. But if you look in that word, I already see a word that I know, actually two words hiding inside of that word. If you look at the very beginning, I know the word FOR spells for. And then when you look in the middle part of the word, I know that GET spells get. And then if you look at the end of the word, what hunk and chunk do we see? We see ING, which we know says ing. So if I know that and I'm going to stretch it out, it's going to make it a lot easier for me to figure out that word. So when I go to stretch it out, I'm going to stretch it out like this. I'm going to say forgetting. And then I just blend it all together and say it a little faster. Forgetting, forgetting, forgetting. That makes sense in that sentence. So always make sure that if you see a really big word, try to find words in there that are hiding inside that you already know. See if you find hunks and chunks that you know. And also sometimes like word families are a good thing to look for too. So like am, at, op, that kind of thing. So make sure you're using those strategies when you get stuck on a word. So one thing that I really want you guys to work on when you're reading books with me like this, or even when you're reading just at home for fun, I want you to really make sure that you are not putting words in the text that aren't there. And I also want you to make sure that you're not leaving words out that are in the text. So I'm going to give you a little example on this page. I'm going to read this page to you, and I'm going to do some of those things on purpose, and I want you to see if you can catch where am I making the mistakes. And I'm also going to show you how sometimes when we try maybe a little too hard to read really quickly, that can lead us to make those mistakes where we put in words that aren't there or leave words out. So I'm going to show you kind of what I'm talking about, okay? I'm going to read this page to you. See if you can figure out where I make the mistakes. Sheep and cow ran to the pig pen. They were way too late. "Oh, pig," said cow, "you're muddy again." "We're too tried to clean up," said sheep. So do you see how I did read with good fluency? I did read with expression and I did read quickly, but because I was worried so much about reading quickly that I ended up putting a word in there that wasn't actually there, even though it did make sense. And then at the bottom of the page, I said, we're to tried to clean up, said sheep. Now that doesn't make sense, but because I was so focused on trying to read quickly that I didn't take my time and I didn't stop and think, oh wait, that doesn't make sense. So what I should have done is I should have recognized that when I said they were way too late, the word way is not even there, even though it does make sense. So I want to stop and I want to go back and fix it. And then at the bottom of the page, I should have recognized that, wait a second, we're to tried to clean up. That doesn't make any sense at all. So I need to stop, go back, and reread and make sure that I know what that word is. Then once you know what the word is, then go back and read the sentence over and over again and practice that fluency of reading quickly, okay? So always practice that. Make sure that you're not putting any words in there that aren't there, and make sure you're reading all of the words that are there. So take your time and slow down. I'd rather you do that first and then go back and practice the fluency second. Okay, so now that you've had a chance to finish our book, what you're going to do is you're going to go back to Seesaw and you're going to compare and you're going to contrast the pig and the cow. So you're going to think about what's the same, comparing, and what's different, contrasting. And then make sure you turn that into me, and then I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. I hope you enjoyed our book. I thought it was kind of silly and fun, and we'll read another one next week. Nice job.